So there's nothing better, is there, that you get your tee shot away, perfect lie, you've got 7-iron in your hands. And you get that great strike, great ball speed, launching aggressively, and the ball flying out there, 185 yards carry. Now, if you're watching today's video though, unfortunately, there's probably not enough, if any, of those type of shots. And generally what I'll see with a lot of club golfers is that off that perfect tee shot, they will top it, thin it, or even when they manage to get a good strike on the golf ball, it's kind of a very weak, drifting out to the right shot, ball speed drops down, and it just never feels like they'll hear about people saying how they compress the golf ball, feels a very glancing blow. And I'm going to talk today about why I think the big difference, or what the big difference is between the best players in the world and most amateur golfers. So at address position, don't always see a huge difference for me. The impact is where you absolutely see the difference. So with the best players in the world, what you will see is that the weight's much more into that lead leg, the body's turned out the way, the shaft's leaning forward, and a very powerful impact position. But unfortunately, most club golfers, particularly if you're someone who videos yourself, will tend to see maybe back on that trail foot, shaft leaning back, that trail arm really extended, and just extra loft on the golf ball. So what we need to understand is, if it's so different, the great ball strikers and the average golfer, how are we going to get you from that first position to the second one? So the first thing I want to talk about is, in the backswing, a lot of golfers are told that they need to maintain their height. So if you look at address, I'm stood fairly tall, my lead arm's fairly stretched, and my trail arm's got a tiny bit of bend in it. Now, if I keep my height in the golf swing, and then tried to get into that position that we see the best players in the world, you can see how much higher that club head is going to be. So that's where the top and the thin comes in. So what I want you to work on is, as you take the club back, I want you to feel like you get your belt buckle looking down to the ground a little bit more, and you'll see how you'll actually lose a little bit of height. Now what this gets is you pressing down into the ground, also gets that trail hip working up, lead hip working down into a nice backswing position, lots of energy stored. Now what you can then do from here is you can then turn out of the way, make sure that as you turn, now we can keep that shaft leaning forward and that trail arm will be slightly bent. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually try just a couple of smaller swings where you feel you just lose that little bit of height in the backswing. So try the practice swing. And you might initially feel that you touch the ground a little bit more than normal, particularly if you're someone who gets that glancing blow. So let's go small swing, feel that press down into the ground. And that feels so powerful. So we can see 4.6 inches ahead, still 121 mile an hour ball speed launching at 16 degrees. Now I know what you're thinking, maybe just play with that instead. But that just feels such a different impact position and so much more powerful. So have another little go, and I'm just going to show you here what might happen if you do this first. So we can see there, that one a little bit more over to the right. Low points ahead, but the carry's just down very slightly. And that's predominantly because if you're someone who's squared the club face up this way, that club might be pointing nice and straight, but if I now put shaft lean in, we can see how that club face will be pointing over to the right. So this moves us on to the second point. And if we look now down the line, as most golfers take the club back, they'll rotate that club face open, so that leading edge is pointing out behind them, and on the way down we see a similar position, and then they have to stop the body, extend the arms to get that strike. So what we're going to work on is feel that the club looks down at the ball more, So that leading edge will be the same as your spine angle. Then as you swing down, we're going to feel that you flatten that left wrist off, get that logo more down to the ground. We can see that passes through the same point. As we turn out the way now, we can see a completely different impact position with shaft lean. So now we're trying to need to build those two things together. So stronger club face on the way back, lose that little bit of height, get that belt buckle down to the ground, little half swing. Now, if you're somebody who normally pops the ball up in the air, that is going to feel so different. 4.3 inches ahead, 118 mile an hour ball speed, but just so much more powerful. Now, I know a lot of golfers talk or comment on my videos if I've done stuff on this about why would I want to de-loft 7-iron? Why can't I just use a 6 or a 5? Well, the problem is if you're hitting 7-iron like that, yes, you could use a 5-iron for less loft, but it doesn't improve the strike. So it's not actually improving by just taking more club for the ball to go further. So I'm going to do one more slightly shorter swing. Nice strong club face, squat down, and then just turn out the way. And maybe a little longer than half swing. That one just drawing, feeling nice and powerful at 4.3 inches ahead. 126.7 ball speed and 185 carry. So let's go nice full swing now and see if I can still get into that very strong position at impact. Just a little bit clean. By no means am I asking for that one back though. 4.1 inches ahead, 128 ball speed and more distance. And it does feel very different, and it's certainly something that I don't do well enough. If I were to just hit a kind of normal 7-iron for me, I'm more than happy with where it's gone. 1.9 inches ahead, just under 19 launch angle at 180, but I do love that feeling that I've been working on there in the video. So we're going to get nice and strong with the club face, squat down so I can really rotate out the way. And even if I don't hit that one absolutely perfectly, my low point's further ahead. My ball speed's still up at 124, launch at 17 degrees and 187 yards total. And if you can work on those couple of things that we've spoken about, it's really going to take your ball striking to the next level. Right then guys, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you did, like it and share it, comment below and I'll get back to as many people as I can. There's another video just there, hopefully helping you with your golf. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here soon. Stay in contact.